Shalom. And foremost, I want to start out by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakadush. Salutation to the elders and apostles of GMS groups and ones alike teach 100% truth. Shalom, Barakathum to them. And double honors to the apostle elders of GMS groups and ones alike teaching 100% truth. And for their knowledge and edification, Shalom, Barakathum to them. All foremost again to all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Yashem, Rakadush. The Wadi Al-Bashim Yashah. Tonight's lesson, we'll talk about a little bit about wicked women. A few verses relating to wicked women. We're going to start it off. This is on Proverbs 9, 13 through 18. A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple. She knoweth nothing. For she sitteth at the door of our house, on a seat in the high places of the city, to call passengers who go right on their ways. Those passengers represent victims. Whosoever is simple, let him turn and hither. And as for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, stolen waters are sweet, but bread eaten in secret is pleasant. So that temporary pleasure, what it is, but ultimately is a fatal consequence to that temporary pleasure. You know, that's done secretly, but secretly among men, but not among the eyes of Yahweh Bashim Yashah. You know what I mean? 18. But he knoweth not that the dead are there, and that her guests are in the depths of hell. So previous victims. So unsuspected passengers relating to victims. You know what I mean? And that relates to the ways of a foolish, the ways of relating to the folly and foolishness of a wicked woman. You know what I mean? Because she ultimately is leading those passengers to their doom. And many have come across pretty much her waters, and she had many victims. She had many victims come out. Well, come in. I don't know about going out, but coming in. You know what I mean? So basically, that relates to the ways of the folly of a woman. You know what I mean? And number 13 makes the point. For a foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple, knoweth nothing. She's clamorous. She's noisy. But she knoweth nothing. She makes a lot of noise. And that's some of them. You got good women out there. You do. But these are the ones these verses relating to the wicked ones. And just to be gender fair, this goes for men too. All right, let's continue on. I'm going to read Isaiah 32 and 9 through 11. Start out through 11. Rise ye up, women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give an ear to my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage. Now that vintage represents wine, things that were produced at high quality. And these things in the end are going to fail. You know, an example of that be wine and farming. Just hypothetical examples. And the gathering shall not come. The gathering relates to the harvest from the high production of that quality that was produced. Number 11. Tremble ye women that are at ease. Be tremble ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bear and gird sackcloth upon your loins. That relates to your shame and your embarrassment, pretty much. They shall lament for teeth. Teeth relates to a specific body part, breast. And teeth relates to being supplying a supplication, something that gives production for the pleasant fields and for the fruitful vine. So basically, these things that were high quality, as I was saying, with the vintage and the harvest and the gathering, the things that were high quality in production, is not going to be there. It's going to fail and it's not going to come. And this relates to the consequences of complacency dealing with these women, man. Because they're very complacent because they have received and they're at a high place relating to grace, liberty, and receiving certain things. So they pretty much, there's nothing going on. So they're confident. They haughty and they're overconfident. Over haughty and overconfident. Because they think they're in a safe place. But in actuality, they're not. Because we're in the times of change right now relating to prophecy. And ultimately, a lot of things are changing. And there's going to come a day where certain things are going to manifest relating to prophecy, and it's going to affect specifically women, because women are the majority of the population over men. So it's going to specifically, especially affect them the most. Now, like I said, those verses I was reading relates to consequences of complacency. Being complacent, thinking things are always going to be, are not going to change. Well, the coronavirus is proof that things are changing, and not for the best. I'm going to read Ecclesiasticus 25:13 through 26. Give me any plague, but the plague of a heart, and any wickedness, but the wickedness of a woman, and any affliction but the affliction from them that hate me, and any revenge but the revenge of enemies. There is no head above the head of a serpent, and there is no wrath above the wrath of an enemy. This relates to the extreme forms of evil. This relates to women. I'm going to read 16 to 26. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. A wicked woman. And this relates to wicked women. So when they hear this video, don't get offended. It talks about wicked women. If it doesn't comply to you, then don't be offended. Because there are, like I said, there's good and bad of everything. That includes men, that includes women. This relates to wicked women. Like I said, to be gender fair, there's wicked men too. So you can put that in there with them too as well. Now this is 17. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face, and darketh her countenance. Her countenance represents her appearance. Like sackcloth. Sackcloth is dark, black. Just like her wickedness. 18. Her husband shall not sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth, it shall sigh bitterly. 19. All wickedness is but little to wickedness of a woman, but let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. 20. As the climbing up the sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is the wife full of words to a quiet man. 21. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure. That's a very important one. That basically lust after her assets, physical attributes, fall for that stuff. Sometimes that could be a trap. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence. Impudence is basically lack of respect. Reproach is to show, express for disappointment or disapproval. A wicked woman abated. Abated is to lessen the intensity of. Abated the courage, maketh a heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress, maketh weak hands and feeble knees. 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. That relates to Eve being deceived ultimately. When she was deceived, she caused Adam to sin, and ultimately sin to enter in the world. And that's why we have what we have now. sin, death, mortality, sin, and death. Now 25. Give water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. So don't give her the freedom or liberty to gad abroad, because ultimately it's not going to be in the benefit relating to the interest relating to specific circumstances. In a matter of speaking, if you give her liberty to gad abroad, she's going to do stuff that's not going to be beneficial to her, but ultimately the ones who are involved dealing with her. 26. If she got not as though wouldst have her cut her off, and from the flesh, and give her a bill of divorce and let her go. And this all relates to the evils of a wicked woman, because there's many out here, believe it or not. Some men been destroyed by wicked women. Some men been put in jail because of wicked women. Some men even been killed because of wicked women. It's not a reality. This is not a fantasy. This is a reality for some people. Let's continue on. This is 2 Ezra 9, 10 through 13. I'm going to read. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me. That relates to knowing Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. But they receive benefits. The same benefits ultimately the Lord blessed them to have, but have not known me. Because ultimately, when it's all said and done, it's the Lord that gives and takes anyway. Number 11. And they that have loathed my law while they had liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. So that relates to this truth being put out. The prophets prophesizing and teaching, saying it's time to convert, change, and repent, and work your salvation with fear and trembling. Philippians 2 and 12. Times we're in. We're in times of prophecy. Prophets out here prophesizing. A lot of things are happening from a spiritual aspect. But many are not going to take hearken and heed. They think it's a joke. They laugh, they mock, they scoff. When this stuff manifests and happens, it's not going to be a joking manner. It's going to be serious. It takes people to realize when they're in a circumstance when it's too late. Then they ain't going to do something about it. This COVID virus should be a wake-up call from a spiritual aspect if you had the eyes to see, and most of all the ears to hear. But unfortunately, many are not. Now, because they refuse to hearken and heed to these things, number 12, the same must know it after death by pain. And that relates to Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushua's judgment. Number 13. For therefore, be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished. Don't worry about how the wicked, the unrighteous are going to be punished and judged. But inquire is to ask information of something or someone, how the righteous shall be saved. Who the world is and from whom the world is created. So ultimately, this world was created for the righteous. This world was created for the righteous from the beginning. It's for a specific nation, in a matter of speaking. But because they erred off and transgressed relating to Deuteronomy and 28, and ultimately, the Lord he's a balanced power. He has to allow the wicked to rule and have rulership. because it's their time right now. But ultimately, the next kingdom, the next session of rulership will be a permanent rulership forever, and that's the one when the righteous are going to rule. Right now is the time for the wicked to rule. This is their kingdom. This is their time. And that relates to the signs of the end. This is my spirit to do. It might sound a little tense. That's okay. Because we're in the times of certain things happening, man. We're in the process of testing, vaccinations, and more stuff to happen after that. Perhaps to the microchip. These things are happening. These are not no movie. This is not fantasy. So that being said, I'm going to begin to end this. I hope it helped. I hope it edified. You know, I pray it did. I'm going to begin to end this. All praise to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Rakadish. Salutation to the elders and apostles of GMS groups and ones alike. Teach 100% truth. Shalom, barakathon to them. I'll give all praise to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Rakadish. Salutation. Shalakia. Shalom. Thank you.